Welcome to the Noble Network College Fair. We're very excited to have you participating in this event today. Today we have some fantastic schools. Each will have about 6 minutes to share more about their institution, but we'll be around for the entire session to answer questions. My name is Greg. I'll be your facilitator. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. Your camera and your microphone are turned off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type any questions to our presenters at any time. If you have a question for a particular school, please try to include that in your question as well. This is just one of many different sessions happening. Be sure to check out the schedule on the website. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/noble. And I'll drop that contact information into the chat for you to look at. With that, I'd like to turn it over to our first presenter, Grinnell College.
I forgot to unmute myself. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining today. My name is Christian Morris. I'm a senior admission counselor here at Grinnell College. I'm also a recent alum, graduated in 2018, and I'm excited to be here to talk to you guys about Grinnell. And so Grinnell College is a small liberal arts college in Iowa, right between Des Moines and Iowa City, about 45 minutes both directions, east and west. So like an hour and a half round trip to either of the two big cities in Iowa any day of the week, then about 4 hours driving from Chicago itself, so not a long trip at all. On campus, we have about 1,700 students, and a couple of things we pride ourselves on. First would be diversity, because within those 1,700 students, we're 95% out of state, 20% of our student body are international students. On top of that, another 25% are domestic students of color. And in all honesty, the thing that stood out to me as a student was just the fact that within those 1,700 students, they come from over 50 different countries from around the world, which is pretty crazy. And so regardless of what I was doing academically, what I wanted to do professionally, or in my free time, I found myself interacting with people of a completely different cultural background, intellectual background, and so on than myself, which I thought was really outstanding. But yeah, moving on to some of our curriculum and academics. The curriculum is kind of rare. It's called the individually advised curriculum. And so what that means is that aside from your one required class, the rest of your classes are all electives as long as it's outside of your actual major. And you have until the end of your second year to actually declare your major in the first place. So you have time to figure out what you're good at, what you're bad at, to stay away from what you're bad at, and to focus on what you're good at. But also you have more than enough time and resources to have the realization that what you're good at is not necessarily the same thing as what you're most passionate about. So you have the time and the resources to figure out how to intersect those two different things academically and then professionally on top of that. And that one required class I mentioned earlier is called tutorial, and you take that in your first semester of your first year. And it's honestly exactly what it sounds like. It's meant to essentially introduce all of our incoming first year students to the academic and classroom setting that we offer before you get into more intense classes in your second semester, second year, third year, and fourth year. And so that means that we essentially meet you wherever you're at, and we hold your hand throughout the entire process of switching from high school academics to college level academics. So instead of assuming that you know how to do your own original research, how to cite it, how to present it for one person or maybe 30 people, we meet you wherever you're at, and we teach you all of these things before you get into classes that expect those things of you, which I thought was really awesome. But moving on to some off-campus study options that we have well over 100 pre-approved programs in well over 60 different countries around the world. So that's every continent except Antarctica, where we can send you essentially. And something that's really awesome is just that your financial aid goes off campus with you. And if you happen to go to London or Japan or California or New York, where breathing will probably cost more money there than breathing in Iowa, your financial aid packet is not only going there with you, but it can be adjusted in response to those changes, because it's our biggest nightmare for faculty, staff, or students to be anywhere in the world without enough resources to thrive there. About 70% of all of our students go off campus for at least one semester, and that's also because the only thing you need to do as a student is to meet the GPA requirement, which is a 2.75 at the very least, which isn't that bad at all. Moving on to some research opportunities that we have. Research is absolutely lovely at Grinnell because it is unavoidable. If you want to get an A in any of your classes, whether it's related to your major or not, a 101 course or a capstone to your major, you have to get the hands-on research aspect done in a decent manner because it's a large portion of your grade for that class. But it also means that research is absolutely not competitive, but also it is literally unavoidable as long as you take classes at Grinnell. And we also have a really awesome Mentored Advanced Project program, which is essentially a professional development research program that you get to do alongside professors. And so it's essentially graduate level research that we pay you to do, and also you get academic credits for as well. And this happens either during the year or during the summer, and it's really non-competitive in addition to that, because it's quite literally just a conversation that you bring up with your professor of what are you doing this summer? Are you working on something during the year? Or if you have your own project that you want to propose to them, you quite literally just have to start that conversation with them. But yeah, there's a whole lot of research opportunities here at Grinnell. Moving on to some social life. We have well over 500 events every single year, all free of charge, all open door policy. And there's usually more towards 600 to 800 events, because if you have a potluck with your friends, that happens just once. That doesn't necessarily happen every single year. So it's not counted within those 500 events, essentially. And all of our events and activities have little to no bar or cut for them, meaning we don't want you to think you have to have public speaking skills and some sort of past in theater just to try out for theater and have stage time. We don't want you to think you have to have played volleyball for 14 years of your life just to play intramural or varsity volleyball. We want you to do things regardless of what it is, whether you're good at it or absolutely terrible at it, which is pretty cool because it means you can actually get out of your comfort zone at your own will, essentially. But yeah, moving on to some facts about applying to Grinnell specifically. We have 3 deadlines: early decision 1, early decision 2, and regular decision. And our main platforms are the Common App and QuestBridge application, and we are test optional as well. But we look at the application in a holistic approach, meaning we don't just care about how you've done in the classroom. In all honesty, anyone can work really, 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 really hard, or maybe not too hard at all, and get straight A's. Whereas not everyone would feel comfortable and at home here at Grinnell. So aside from making sure that you can do the work, we're looking at fit, how you show yourself off in that application as a human being more than just a student. Because we really do care about the human aspect of going to college a whole bunch, more than just how you've done in the classroom setting itself. And then lastly is our financial aid. We're need blind and we meet 100% of demonstrated need. Need blind means that when you do click submit on the application, we get no information regarding your family's ability to pay the full tuition when you do click submit, regardless of the medium or platform. And if you do need financial assistance from us directly, we will give you a financial aid packet with no student loans in it, meeting 100% of that demonstrated need, which is really cool because that didn't exist when I was a student. So you guys can live the life without student loans, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, I think I'll end there and pass it over to my colleagues. And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. We'd now like to ask Carleton College to present.
Perfect. All right. Hopefully everyone can see this. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dominic Robinson. I'm an admissions officer at Carleton College, and I'm super excited to be here and present some of this information to you all. If you're not familiar with Carleton, just some background information. We're a small liberal arts college in Northfield, Minnesota, right? You'll hear the term small liberal arts college probably in all of these presentations that you'll hear during this session, but we're located in Northfield, Minnesota, which is about 45 minutes south of the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul. And so some of you may be more familiar with the Twin Cities than you are Northfield, but we're just 40 miles away, 45-minute drive. Small in terms of our population, so we're roughly around 2,000 students at Carleton, and our students are coming from all over the country and all over the world. And so we have students representing all 50 states at Carleton, as well as 60 plus countries across the world. We are a residential campus, right? Community is a really big thing that we emphasize at Carleton, and so around 96% of our students actually do live on campus with us. In terms of academics, we are special in a couple of different ways. The first way is that we run on a trimester system at Carleton, which is very different from majority of the other institutions in the country, right? So we have 3 academic terms. Each of those terms is 10 weeks long, and you'll typically take 3 classes during those terms, right? So 9 classes each year is the traditional makeup of a Carleton year. We're somewhat in the middle of a core curriculum and an open curriculum in that we do have requirements, but they are in fact general. And so you'll have tons and tons of options to fulfill those requirements, and you'll get your full 4 years, right, to fulfill those requirements before you graduate. Another thing that you may hear from other institutions here on the call or other institutions across the country is that you don't declare a major at Carleton until the end of your sophomore year. And that's because exploration is really big for us, right? We want you to go out and explore. We want you to go out and immerse yourself in different areas of study that you didn't have the opportunity to do while you are in high school, right? Explore those things beyond the one thing that you want to major in. And so we don't allow students to declare until the end of their sophomore year. In terms of support, we have tons of support at Carleton for students, right? And so the first being our academic skills center. Under that umbrella, we have a math skills center and a writing center. And so if you're in a class that requires you to do some math and you're struggling there, or you're in a class that requires you to do some writing and you're struggling there, or you think you're a great writer and you want someone to read over your writing, right? You can go to the writing center for math. You can go to the math skills center. You'll have 3 advisors during your time at Carleton. One will be for your first 2 years at Carleton. Once you declare that major, you'll get a major advisor, and they will be a faculty member in that department. They guide you up until the point of graduation. And then you'll get a comps advisor in your senior year. Comps is the senior comprehensive exercise. You can imagine it being the senior thesis that other institutions will offer, right? All seniors are required to do this in their last year, and you will have an advisor that helps guide you through that process. If you are a student with a documented disability, you can go through Accessibility Resources, our office that helps students get the proper accommodations. We also have a TRIO program at Carleton for our first generation low income and students with documented disabilities. They are all eligible for applying for the TRIO program, as well as we have CUBE and Focus. Focus is specifically for our underrepresented students who want to go into STEM, and CUBE is a little bit more on the quantitative side, so math and stats, and helping you better your skills in those areas, all again for our underrepresented students. If you're someone who wants to study off campus, you absolutely have the opportunity to do that. And so 70% of our students do study abroad, right? And of those students, 50% of them get the opportunity to study abroad multiple times. So multiple opportunities to study abroad during your 4 years at Carleton. In terms of student clubs and orgs, right, we have over 200 student clubs and organizations in addition to the 19 varsity sports that we offer, club and intramural sports, as well as artistic endeavors. So if you're someone who's involved in music, whether that be instrumental or vocal, whether that be studio art, you draw, you paint, you sculpt, right, you're in theater, anything like that, tons of opportunities for that. We have our own student-run radio station where students can create their own radio show or podcast where they can talk about whatever they want. They can play whatever type of music they want, right? So lots of opportunities to get involved in those ways. We also have a bunch of campus affinity groups, right? This is not an extensive list. This is just the short list. We have others, but if you are someone who is looking to find community based off of your ethnicity, right? Based off of your gender identity or your sexual orientation or your religion, right? We have tons of opportunities to find community here on campus. In terms of traditions, I'll only talk about one here, the one that first years do in their first week at Carleton, the one in your bottom right screen. It's the Frisbee toss. All students are given a Frisbee. You write your name and your room number on the back. You throw it in the middle of the circle. You run out and get a random one, and you have to find the person whose Frisbee it is before the end of the week, ultimately to try and help you find or make a new friend during your first week at Carleton. In terms of residential life, I mentioned, right, we are a residential campus. Housing is guaranteed all 4 years. We have multiple different styles of housing, and we also have interest houses, right? So again, based off of ethnic identity or cultural identity, right? Religious affiliation, sexual orientation, gender identity, right? Again, multiple ways to help you find community and help you live amongst people who have similar experiences to you. In terms of campus resources, we have a bunch of those as well. So our Office of Intercultural Life focuses on our BIPOC population, right? Our Office of International Student Life focuses on international students. Our GSC focuses on our students in the LGBTQIA+ community, right? So tons of opportunities to find resources on campus beyond your peers as well. And we also have a couple of pre-application programs. So for those of you who are going to be seniors next year, Taste of Carleton is a really great one. It's a fly-in program, 100% free. We fly you out to Carleton. You stay for a couple of days on campus. You get the opportunity to visit classes, stay with a current student, and attend some sessions on campus. So a great opportunity if you're looking to visit campus for free. That is all the information that I will share with you all this morning. If you do have questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat or email us at admissions@carleton.edu. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you so much. Want to just remind all of our participants, if you have any questions, use the Q&A down there. If you have a question for a particular school, please include that in your question as well. We'd now like to turn it over to Colby College.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Drew Goodwin. I am an assistant director of admissions here at Colby. Let me go ahead and share my screen if my computer wants to cooperate with me here this morning. So again, like I said, my name is Drew Goodwin. My pronouns are he and him. And I am from Colby College. And like other folks here, we are a small liberal arts college, and we are located in beautiful Waterville, Maine, which is located about an hour north of Portland, Maine, and about 3 hours north of Boston, right at the gateway to Maine woods. We offer an extremely expansive academic curriculum with 56 majors and 35 minors. So our students are studying everything from computational economy to biology to computer science to East Asian studies and everything outside and in between. So very, very diverse. Our academic program is going to be extremely innovative. And the first of these innovations that I would like to focus on is our academic calendar, which calendars sound boring, but hold on one second. Our academic calendar is what you might call a 4-1-4 calendar, meaning you take 4 classes in both the fall and the spring, as well as an intensive January term that we call lovingly Jan Plan. Now, Jan Plan is an opportunity for you to take either a course that maybe you're not super excited about and kind of want to get out of the way, but even more so, it's an opportunity to explore something you wouldn't have been able to do otherwise, whether it's an amazing course on campus. One of these, which is my favorite, is our shear to shawl class, which is which you learn how to take wool from sheep and turn it into an actual garment to wear, which is pretty cool, or our blacksmithing course, or an EMT certification, or something really cool and hands-on like that. It's also an opportunity to get off campus, whether it's going to be doing research or an internship or doing a global experience, which is guaranteed for every single student. It's really an opportunity to explore something that you might not have been able to do otherwise. We only require 3 Jan plans, but about 90% of our students will opt to do all 4. So it's a really, really great opportunity to really just do something weird and funky and cool. The other big innovation that I do want to focus on is our extensive use of institutes on our campus. The biggest of these that I do want to focus on right now, though, is our Davis Institute for Artificial Intelligence, which is the first and so far only cross-disciplinary institute for artificial intelligence at a liberal arts college in the entire country. So every similar institute is going to be found at a Caltech or an MIT or something like that. And so the Davis Institute isn't really focused on trying to get you to take like an intro class in AI and then you've forgotten it all by senior year. It's really focused on integrating it into every single class that you're focusing on, whether it's a class in East Asian studies where you're studying WeChat data, or you are in a macroeconomics class trying to do large, macroeconomic forecasting using AI, really allowing you to go out into the world and use this tool in a way that is both ethical, but also really useful, regardless of what it is you might be doing later on in your career. So it's a really amazing opportunity among the rest of our institutes to really just find something new and interesting and a new way of thinking about things. Now, in addition to all of these really innovative approaches to our academics, we are really focused on making sure that our students have the support in terms of their career and professional readiness. And a large part of this is going to be Davis Connects. And Davis Connects is kind of like a career services program, except for it kind of flips it all on its head. So instead of you having to wander in yourself, your junior or your senior year, and ask some questions, you're automatically your first day at Colby going to be connected with a Davis Connects advisor whose job it is to help you find research opportunities, global experiences, internships, and really have them build on one another, right? So if you're a student that's really interested in going to medical school, how can you leverage some of the really great opportunities through Davis Connects to find those things that are really going to help you stand out at that medical school application? What research opportunities, what internships, and really make you the most competitive candidate for whatever program you're focusing on. So that is why we've been able to maintain throughout the entirety of the pandemic a 94% placement rate for our students going into their careers or into a professional or graduate school, because they really are standing out on those applications, regardless of what they're applying to. Now, on the outside of the academics kind of co-curricular space, I really want to focus on our commitment to our Waterville community. So Waterville is a small city of about 17,000 people, and coming from the Chicago area, I doubt that 17,000 people sounds like a city to you, but I swear in Maine it is considered a city. And it's a really amazing place to live, but it has seen, a lot of changes in the past couple of decades in terms of deindustrializations and things like that. So in the past decade, the college itself has invested about $80 million directly into downtown Waterville to make it an even more incredible place to live. And a really big reflection of this is the picture you're seeing right here, which is going to be our Alphon Main Street Commons. This is an off-campus residence hall for about 200 upper class students for juniors and seniors who are focused on some sort of community engagement project, whether it is tutoring local middle school students or volunteering with the local fire department or something else. All of these students are required to be out in the community doing something, and our students are really excited about that. They really want to get out out of campus and see what life is like in the greater central Maine area. And so a large part of this is also our club on campus called Colby Cares About Kids, which is a tutoring program for middle school and high school students, as well as a mentorship program for those students. And about a quarter of our students will be involved in that in some way, shape, or form, which is a really kind of a testament to how much our students are really kind of are getting integrated into the community around us and not just kind of sitting on campus waiting for those opportunities to come to them. Now here at the very end, I do want to, of course, focus a bit on admissions and financial aid. If there's only two words that you remember about Colby admissions and financial aid, is that it is access and affordability. On the access side, we are really easy to apply to. We are on the Common App, we are on the Coalition app, in addition to being a QuestBridge partner. There is no fee to apply. There are no extra essays or writing samples, and we are test optional. And I always say we are test optional, full stop, period. It is not test optional, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you think your test scores, if you have them, are a good reflection of who you are as a student, submit them. If not, don't. It makes no difference to us. On the affordability side, we are committed to making sure that we are meeting 100% of demonstrated need for every single student without the use of student loans. So this is allowing a large number of our students to be able to graduate debt-free. And as someone who is paying off student loans debt-free is really, really awesome, right? So really making sure that our students, regardless of their other socioeconomic background, are able to take full advantage of every opportunity that Colby has to offer. There are two initiatives in terms of financial aid that I do want to make sure I highlight as well. One is going to be our Colby commitment, which is aimed at lower income families making about $65,000 or less, in which we cap your parent contribution at $0. And then for those folks that we might describe as middle income, about $150,000 or less, that caps that parent or family contribution at $15,000. And that is a hard maximum, not necessarily a minimum for that program, also known as our Fair Shot Fund. So I know this is a lot of information, but I would welcome any comments, questions, concerns, grievances, inquisitions, anything of that nature in the Q&A. My only stipulation is that your inquisitions not be of the Spanish variety. I like my thumbs where they are. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that. We'd now like to ask Hamilton College to present.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Nikki Barron. I'm an Associate Dean of Admission at Hamilton. I'm also a Hamilton College alum. I graduated from Hamilton in 2002, and I am the lucky admission officer who gets to cover Chicago. So I'm so excited that you are all here today. I'm so excited that you are interested in learning a little bit more about Hamilton. Like the other colleges that you've heard from so far today, Hamilton is a small liberal arts college. We have roughly 1,850 students on campus. We were chartered in 1812, and that actually makes us the third oldest college in New York State. Hamilton students come to Hamilton from all over. They are really representing different backgrounds, different perspectives, different ideas. Students come to Hamilton from 49 states and 46 countries. About 7% of our students are international students. About 25% of our students are US citizens who identify as students of color, and about 15% of our students are the first generation of their families to attend college. Those are just our students in terms of the numbers, and what those numbers don't represent are all the great backgrounds, stories, and perspectives that everyone brings with them and contributes to this really strong campus community. A couple of things stand out about Hamilton that makes it distinct. Number one is that we truly do have a tremendous sense of community on campus among our students, faculty, and staff, but also off campus among our alumni. Also, this is a place where you get to make your experience here what you want it to be. You get to shape your own experience academically and also outside the classroom, and you'll have full support by faculty and by staff to really make the experience here your own. I think because of that, it would be really hard to find two Hamilton students who are having an identical Hamilton experience, because every student is really having a different experience based on their own interests. Academically, we achieve that through our distinctive curriculum. You heard earlier from Grinnell about Grinnell's individually advised curriculum. Hamilton's is similar in that we call it an open curriculum. That means that we don't have a core curriculum, we don't have distribution requirements. It's really up to each individual student to design their own liberal arts college experience, working really closely with a faculty advisor. So you and your advisor are regularly going to have conversations about the academic subjects that interest you, and also the subjects that don't interest you as much, or maybe that you're a little fearful of taking classes in. And then your advisor will ensure that you're taking classes across all different academic disciplines and gaining a really well-rounded breadth of coursework, which is one of the goals of the liberal arts experience, but you're actually designing your own experience. So that means that every classroom that you're sitting in here, you are surrounded by other students who really want to be there because every student has chosen to take the class rather than registering for classes just to satisfy requirements. So it creates a really dynamic and engaging classroom experience. Students will declare a major in their 4th semester, and at that point, they'll then have major requirements to fulfill. We also really emphasize communication across our curriculum, both orally and in writing. Just about every class you take, there will be an oral and a written component to it to prepare you for whatever it is that you choose to do after you graduate. We also have great academic resources to support students. We have a writing center, for example, on campus. This is where you can go for help with your writing. We also have an oral communication center, which is where you can go for any help with public speaking. We also have a quantitative and symbolic reasoning center, which will give you individual support for any quantitative courses that you're taking. And then we also have outstanding professors. Our professors are truly great resources here. Students and professors develop really strong relationships because we keep our classes small. About 76% of our classes have 19 or fewer students. The student faculty ratio is about 9-to-1. This is also a very residential campus. 100% of our students live on campus for all 4 years. It's actually required of every student to live on campus. And because of that, that really strengthens the sense of community on campus. Students love living and learning together with their peers for 4 years. And so you'll develop lifelong friendships. This is a community of people who are really supportive of each other. They cheer each other on in all that they do outside the classroom and in the classroom. Students really attend a lot of our campus activities and events because they want to see what their friends are up to. Wherever you are on campus, you'll hear cheers whenever we have athletic events, outdoor competitions that are going on, and you too will go join the fan club and cheer on the Hamilton teams. We also have a great arts program, and students can get involved in the arts, even if they're not majoring in the arts or taking classes in the arts. And then we also have about 150 student-run clubs and organizations. You'll find that most of your experiences are really going to be wrapped up here on the campus, and students tend to go for really extended periods of time without leaving campus because all that they need is right here on campus because of our residential community. We are in central New York. We're in the town of Clinton, New York. Clinton can best be described as a quaint college town, but we're about 4 hours from New York City, 4 hours from Boston, 4 hours from Toronto. Our closest city is Utica, New York, which is about 20 minutes away and has all the conveniences and amenities of a small city. So there's also great access to the outdoors. A lot of our students are involved in the outdoors, hiking, biking, skiing, snowshoeing. They're taking advantage of all the great outdoor resources that are right here in central New York State. In terms of preparation for what's to come after Hamilton, we have a great career center that will really support students navigating the entire career development process. The Career Center will work with you throughout your 4 years on campus. Every arriving incoming new first-year student is assigned a career advisor. You'll have the same career advisor for all 4 years that you're a student here. And this person is really going to help you identify what your career interests are. Will also help you write a cover letter and a resume, and will also help you strengthen your interviewing skills. So there's great support for what's to come after Hamilton. I could go on and on. There's so much to say. The challenge is containing my enthusiasm in the really short amount of time that we had today, but feel free to put more questions in the Q&A. I'd be glad to tell you more about Hamilton. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. We'd now like to invite Colgate University to present.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jameer Abney. I'm an associate dean from Colgate University. Thank you so much for being here with us. And actually, we're going to start out as I share my screen with a video.
And your video is not playing.
It's not playing?
No.
I'm seeing it on my side. Technology. Why? Just a second. You aren't seeing it at all?
No, we're not.
It's showing that I'm sharing the screen. Okay, never mind then. I'll jump ahead since we're on a time limit. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So sorry, forget the video then, because now we're under the minute and a half I had built in for it. But Colgate University, like my colleagues here, is a residential liberal arts college in Hamilton, New York. We are just about 30 minutes away from our colleagues at Hamilton College. Colgate is a national liberal arts university with students from all over the world and all over the country. All 50 states are represented in over 70 different countries make up the student body here. One of the great things that we've seen over the last few years is how many more students are becoming interested in Colgate, with students doubling the application pool over the last couple of years, and just showing us a level of interest and intrigue and giving us the chance to really add to the diversity of experiences, classroom engagement, and really the type of people that you'll meet on our campus. As you'll see here, our average class size is only 18 students. You have a 9-to-1 student to faculty ratio, small classes, discussion-based environment, but also the learning that you can do beyond the classroom is very, very important to us as well. Over 60% of our students are studying abroad. Over 80% are conducting research. And one of the cool things is every summer, about 200 to 300 students are on campus receiving funding for research opportunities that they might be interested in as well. So as a student here, you're not only going to have the chance to learn in the classroom, but very much be hands-on, to engage with people, build close relationships with your faculty as well, to do the research and engage with the topics and disciplines that you're really, really passionate about. But also, when you look at Colgate, one of the key factors is the fact that it's built on community. Over 90% of our students are living on campus, and we have everything from traditional dorms to Greek housing for students who are interested in fraternity and sorority life, apartment style living, townhomes, different ways and different styles of living. But as a first and second year student, you'll be a part of something called the residential commons, where you have a living and learning and social environment built in for you that you come into and engage with other students who are living on the central part of campus, surrounded by the academic and co-curricular buildings, and utilize those to be able to build your foundation of community, but also a place here in Hamilton that's very much appreciative and supports this campus that's situated right in the center of town. Hamilton is a small village of about 4,000 people, very quaint, but very welcoming, and has all of the things that you need: a grocery store, a pharmacy, several coffee shops, cafes, things that you can do on the weekend, beautiful outdoor environment if you're someone that's interested in exploring, but also a place that is going to very much welcome and cherish you. And one of the ways that you see that play out is through our 25 varsity sports here on campus. We compete at the Division I level as part of the Patriot League. In the last couple of years, we've had the opportunity to really cheer on our men's basketball team as they competed in the March Madness tournament as part of NC 2A basketball. And that's given us a great opportunity for not only the student community and the campus community, but our local environment here in Hamilton to come out and support their teams. There's a group here in the community that supports the Raiders very, very heavily in terms of attending games, giving money, and also, again, building that sense of campus community beyond just what you're going to find within the 560 acres that make up Colgate. But also, I think one of the important things when you think about this community is the way that we've managed the COVID pandemic. Colgate was a school that, like many, was having to close in the March of 2020 as things really hit us hard. But we were able to bring over 80% of our students back to campus the fall of 2020 and do this with a level of confidence and care because of the close relationship with the local area around us. And in fact, one of the ways that we showed the confidence in our health and safety in the programming was our president actually quarantined and isolated with students in the dormitories during the fall of 2020 to show that we felt confident about the testing, the tracking, vaccinations. When that became a responsibility for us, we did all of the things to be able to showcase how much we trust and believe in our strategy. To that point of strategy, access and affordability is an important thing for us as well. In the fall of 2019, we introduced a brand new strategic plan, our third century plan, looking at the next 100 years for Colgate. And part of that is this Colgate commitment, no loan initiative, meeting 100% of demonstrated need, and making it clear based on your income what your responsibility is going to be in terms of paying to come to Colgate. So our place is going to meet your full need. For families with an income up to $150,000, going to do that without any student loans, and going to provide a lot of support, resources, and great opportunity for growth during your time here at Colgate.
Kenyon College to present, sorry.
Thank you, Greg. And I will go to share my screen. There we go. Alrighty, so the slideshow, here we go. All right, thank you everyone for having us today. We greatly appreciate being a part of y'all's afternoon. My name is Guy Hatch. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a Senior Assistant Director in Office of Admissions at Kenyon College. Kenyon College, we're located in Gambier, Ohio, an hour outside of Columbus, Ohio. 6-hour drive from the city of Chicago. When it comes down to our student body, we're looking at roughly 1,750. And of those 1,750 students, 50 come from, or of our students, 50 different states are represented, 50 different countries are represented. And in addition to that, I would say majority of our student body coming from the coast. So New York specifically, then California, but a strong number coming from the Midwest, Illinois, and shout out to Chicago, typically coming in 3rd or 4th place as far as demographics speak. But in addition to that, when it comes down to campus social life, our students in Gambier, Ohio are intentionally busy. And when I say intentionally busy, you're not going to see so much of our students running from building to building, stressing out about assignments that they have for class, the paper that they have, a presentation that they have to prepare for. Instead, you're going to see students running from building to building because they only have a 5-minute window from the a cappella concert that just ended for the theater performance that they have to make their way to, in which they'd most likely be standing because you have to get to events an hour early to actually get a seat at Kenyon, since our events are so well attended. But in addition to our campus social life, when it comes down to traditions, one of the first traditions that our first year students will experience is our first year sing, in which all of our first year students gather on the steps of Rossall, sing 4 Kenyon songs. And, the students aren't given a heads up that the first 3 songs will be a struggle because they're going to be surrounded by love and support in the rest of the student body, in which they're booing them the entire time. But come around to the 4th song, the boos quiet down, and the community as a whole, including faculty and staff, actually sing that 4th song together. So then comes senior year, these now seniors gather on those same steps during graduation week. Instead of being surrounded by the rest of the student body, they're surrounded by family and friends. And these boos are quickly replaced with tears of joy and excitement. And, that's by far one of my favorite traditions at Kenyon. All right, so when it comes down to activities, like I had mentioned, our students being intentionally busy, we have over 150 different student groups and organizations on campus. Why do we have so many? It's simple. We tell our students that if we don't have it, create it. Not only will you be supported financially, but you'll also be supported through attendance, participation on behalf of our faculty and staff. So then wrapping up with the activities, jumping into the application process, just like so many of our peers, we meet 100% need, but specifically 2 scholarships, 2 premier scholarships for our underrepresented students. KEEP Scholars, Kenyon Educational Enrichment Program, as well as STEM Scholars. One of the major financial benefits of being selected as one of these 2 scholars, on top of us meeting 100% need with a package that would create consisting of merit, grants, work study, loans. If you're selected as a KEEP Scholar or a STEM Scholar, you can wipe away the work study and the loans portion. You will walk away from Kenyon without loans. So wrapping up the financial aid piece, I would love to turn it back over to Greg in case we have time for questions. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you very much. We do have a few minutes left, and we just wanted to invite all of our panelists back, and I'll share my screen. And maybe we could ask them to give us some advice. And the question is, what advice would you give to someone going through the college search process? A piece of advice. And we'll just kind of go in order that we started. We'll go with Grinnell College. Any advice you'd give?
Yeah, I'd say my advice would be to remember the human aspect of going to college, because the things that one school offers can definitely be found at other schools as well. And so you should really talk to current students and just figure out how you would exist there as a human being. If you're going to be a student at the end of the day, regardless, you should figure out how it looks to be there as a human being first. But yeah.
Thank you very much. Carleton College, any advice you would give for someone going through the college search process?
Yeah, I would say take advantage of all the opportunities that institutions are offering, right? If you're not able to visit in person, some of us are still holding virtual opportunities, right? Whether those be info sessions or interviews or virtual tours and things like that, right? So please take advantage of them. If you are able to come, great, please do take advantage of that. Absolutely, that's one of the best ways to kind of find a place for you. And so just always be on the lookout for those opportunities to learn more about an institution or helping an institution learn more about you.
Thank you. Colby College, any advice?
Yeah, my biggest piece of advice is typically around when you're filling out your application, don't forget to brag. We're often taught that bragging's not a good thing, but especially when you're talking about all the amazing activities you're doing. If you were the captain of your soccer team and you made it to states, tell us. We want to know about that. That's fantastic. Brag about it. I think that students get shy sometimes, like, oh, well, no, brag about it. We want you to brag. The application is your opportunity to brag. There's not many other opportunities in life that you'll have to brag. This is one of them. Please take advantage of it.
Thank you. Good advice. Hamilton College, any advice for the college search process?
So I would say it's great that all of the students are here today. It's exciting to see that we have such a large audience here today. And it's great that you're all starting to think about your college search process, but I actually recommend that it's good to keep your college search moving, but don't be so focused on what comes after high school that you lose sight of how great your high school experience is. So pay attention to all that's going on in high school. Celebrate all your accomplishments along the way. Don't live in the present. Don't be so focused on what's to come after high school and with your college search process that you sort of miss out on all the great opportunities that come along with being a high school student. But good luck to all of you, and thanks again.
Thank you. Colgate University, any advice for someone going through the college search process?
Say two things. I think agree with you, Nikki, and then in progressing forward, like really push the bounds of where you think you might land. Apply to schools that are aspirational for you, as well as those schools that you feel like are schools that are going to be a particular fit in a way. And ultimately, as you get into the process, only be as vulnerable as you feel comfortable. Like, you have the essays, you have the opportunity to tell your story, but don't feel like you have to expand yourself or hurt yourself or go through any level of trauma to do this experience. Tell what you're comfortable with. Give us the pieces of the story that you feel good about and that you can sit with, knowing that somebody who's reading them is likely someone you don't know, you haven't met, you don't have that close relationship with necessarily. And even though we have the pleasure in a lot of cases at schools like this to read the applications for the students we engage, depending upon where you're applying to, it may not be the person that you met. And so think about that as you go through this process, and just, do you feel comfortable with what's out there?
Thank you. And last, certainly not least, Kenyon College, any advice to someone going through the college search process?
Yes, thank you. And I couldn't agree more about what you choose to share with us. The last thing we want is for you to re-traumatize yourself when it comes down to sharing something so close with you. But I'll go ahead and look at it from the family aspect, in the sense that I know this is an extremely stressful time for y'all as students, for your parents and loved ones as well, seeing that, hopefully they're with you every step of the way. But this is a small and rare window in your life that you have to travel the country with your family and loved ones and explore these opportunities. And so just make sure you take a step back and embrace this moment, because life's going to hit you fast. After your first year at either of these institutions on this call, most likely you're going to have a summer internship. And after that summer internship, you'll most likely have a first-time job, and you're no longer going to have time to explore the country with your family. So certainly take a step back, enjoy and embrace the grind, and you always have us if you have questions, in which we're more than happy to answer these questions. So I'll wrap up there and thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us today. When you close this window, there'll be a link to a very quick 5-question survey, and we'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. We encourage you to check back on the schedule, sign up for more sessions, and remember, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all of the other sessions recording at strivescan.com/Noble. And I put that in the chat and hopefully had a chance to see that. On behalf of StriveScan and all of our colleges and universities, thank you. Have a wonderful Friday.